What's up guys, Crystal Cover, welcome to another one of my videos. Now today we are checking out my latest video, which is new versus old Lego Star Wars figures. This is something completely different to what I usually do. So if you do enjoy this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It would be really appreciated. Also maybe leave a comment down below if you want, just letting me know what you thought of the video, and also if you want to see more of these, because I can make a series out of this. But for now we're just going to use these guys. Anyway, let's get into the video. Alright, so the first comparison that we're looking at is Luke Skywalker. As you can see, the old model of Luke Skywalker is actually not that bad. You can barely tell the difference between the new model of Luke Skywalker and the old one, except for the hair, which as you can see, the new one is far better. The torso and the legs, however, for Luke Skywalker, you could argue that the older version actually looks better. It's very hard to tell. Like the robes, you can see there's actually less detail here on the newer Luke Skywalker, but the older one, though it has more detail, I don't know if it looks a bit less realistic. It's hard to tell. You can see one of the lines goes all the way up here, whereas it stops really low. So I think it's very hard to tell which one is better, to be honest. I'm actually really stuck on it, but I think all in all, the newer Luke Skywalker here is better, mainly because of his hair and his face. Also, another thing, his brows are brown here, whereas here he's got blonder eyebrows, which I don't know why the older one had brown, but yeah. So yeah, all in all, I'd say the newer Luke Skywalker is better. Also, fun fact by the way, this figure is the first Lego figure I ever got. As you can see, the arm is really loose, which is understandable because, like I said, it's the first figure I ever got, so yeah. Now on to the next one, Darth Vader. I'm quite split on this character because of the helmet, mostly. Now don't get me wrong, the detail is better on the newer Darth Vader here, but I prefer the old helmet, mainly because this newer one just looks a bit goofy. I like how it's in two pieces, as you can see here, but it just looks quite... But the top of the helmet, in my opinion, is a bit too far back, and you can see it kind of makes him look like he's leaning back a bit. It's quite weird, I don't know. I'm not so keen on this helmet, whereas with this one, it just looks much nicer, though it's not split into two pieces. As you can tell, the cape here, this is a new material, and it's so much better, because whether it gets bent or whatever, it doesn't really affect it. If you bend it like this, it'll just go back to how it was before. Whereas with this one, I don't want to bend it, but if you do bend it, it like stays like that, and it's not very good. This material is much worse, though I would say it's better in the sense that it's much more sturdy, and like if you move around, a bit doesn't flap everywhere. But it, like I said, does crease and stuff, and it's not appealing at all to look at. All in all, though, I would say the newer one is better. I mean, they all should be better, but like, shut up. Okay, now we have Chewbacca. There are a couple things that you most probably instantly notice. Obviously, this one's much better, but the newer one has a more dark brown color, whereas this one has a lighter one. Also, if you see here, the newer minifigure is actually quite tall compared to the old one, which is definitely more realistic. Because let me just get this guy. You can see if you compare them, Chewbacca is pretty much the same height as Han Solo. Han Solo is slightly shorter, which is not really that realistic, because if you've seen the films, Chewbacca's much bigger. Here you can see there's a way bigger difference. Obviously, it's not completely accurate. I'd say Chewbacca's like most probably up there or something. But, Lego, they don't want to make him too big, otherwise, it's much more awkward. They might do in the future, I never know. But yeah, as you can see, well, there's a clear winner. The newer variant of Chewbacca is much better. There's so much more detail on him, as you can see here. Even as detail on their legs. You can see also he doesn't actually have eyes, which is kind of a bit scary, if you ask me. But yeah, we have Han Solo. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the older version of Han Solo without the medal, but it's not really too much of an issue, because just imagine him without the medal. That's pretty much it. Alright, well, the newer one obviously does look better. You can see from the face to the legs, the printing is much better. You can see he's got much more of a stern face, and you can see he looks much older compared to here, Right, he looks like he's like a teenager or something. This is the same for the old Luke Skywalker variant. You could see that he had no like facial features, whereas the newer Luke Skywalker did. Now, well, onto the torso, you can see there's so much more detail here compared to here. There's no detail on like the jacket here. You don't see any, pockets or anything. And then on the back, there's literally no detail here. Whereas on the back here, you can see, and so there's got a bit of detail on his jacket. It's not too much more, but it's significant enough to be noticed. Now onto their legs, you can see they had some decent detail on him, but the newer one, well, pretty much claps him. You can see there's printing on both legs and the piece in between, whereas here you got only printing on that leg, nothing in the middle and nothing on the other leg. So all in all, Han Solo pretty much won. Now we have Emperor Palpatine. Why did I make it sound really weird? I don't know, I do that all the time. Anyway, as you can see, Lego changed the colour of his face. Now, if you look at the detail on the face, firstly, I'd say detail-wise, it's very similar. It's very hard to tell which one's got better detail. I'd say this is slightly more detailed. Onto the robes now. Now, they're actually very similar robes. And I'd say that the newer one is better, which it should be, obviously. It just feels more natural and realistic. Whereas here it just looks like, it just feels, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as, like, realistic as, I don't know how I'd explain it. But you can also see there's printing on the legs for Palpatine here, whereas this one doesn't have any printing at all. I would say that, that's very hard. I'd say the newer Emperor is slightly better, just because the detail in general is better. Now, unlike the last figures we just looked at, this one, there's a very obvious winner. It's clearly this guy here. No, I'm joking, but on a real note, this one does kind of look quite nice. I do like the look of it, though it just doesn't look as good as this one. I would say that Boba Fett has the biggest change out of all of them, definitely. Now, well, where do we start? Well, firstly, you can tell that helmet for the older variant is attached to the jetpack, and whereas with the newer Boba Fett, the helmet and the jetpack are two separate things, which is, well, more realistic. For one, your helmet's not attached to your his helmet's not actually attached to his jetpack. So yeah, that's the first. Now, as you can see, the older figure has a much more saturated green colour, whereas the new one has a more worn out olive green colour. One thing which I don't like, though, is how the torso green colour is different to the helmet green and the jetpack green. Like, I don't know why they did that. I don't know why the torso and the legs have a slightly different colour. Why does it keep going out of focus? Now, obviously, the detail on the new Boba Fett is much better than the old one. And with the visor as well. And also, underneath, he actually has a face. Now, I can't remember if this is his face or there's like an older looking face. I can't remember if I mix it up or not. But yeah, at least he's got a face. Whereas this one doesn't, because obviously if he had a face and he had a proper face instead of the black head, you'd see the face through the helmet and that just look weird. So I understand why they have black. But yeah, clearly this one's a winner. Plus, this one just looks quite chunky. And, well, this one looks much more slick and nice. So yeah. Also, there's way more printing on this Boba Fett. You can see it's got printing on the legs and like the feet, and also the, like, I don't know what you call this, a crutch, and the middle bit in between the legs as well, which that could be the crutch, and this bit like the waistline or something like that. I don't know. There's also detail on the back. I'm not going to take the jetpack off because I can't be asked, but there is detail on the back. Now with this guy, he has no detail on the back, for one. And, well, I mean, he's got barely any detail at all, except for his torso. And his helmet's, well, pretty scarce on detail. So, yeah, clear winner, this Boba Fett. Also, just quickly, he's got, like, half cape. I wouldn't, like a shoulder cape. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's basically like a, just like a cape. but just a mini cape. I'll just call it a mini cape, which is realistic, whereas this one doesn't. And also, he's got this thing here. I can't remember what it's called as well, but just both of these parts of Boba Fett just make it look more realistic. Here he's kind of got one on the helmet, but it just looks like a beta version, to be honest. But yeah, all in all, this guy's way better. It's obvious. Anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy this. This is something different, so if you do enjoy, please leave a like and maybe even subscribe if you want. Also, leave a comment telling me what you think. That'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!